43-year-old man Pere Faruk has reportedly died by suicide after allegedly pouring acid on his girlfriend Kemi Bashiru during a domestic dispute on Lagos Island. The violent altercation occurred around 5:40 p.m. on June 30th at number 8 Mercy Street, where the couple resided. Faruk's younger brother Pere Jelly, who lives nearby, was alerted to the incident and raised the alarm. Kemi Bashiru suffered severe burns and is currently receiving treatment at the Lagos Island General Hospital. Shortly after the attack, Faruk was found unresponsive in his room with a bottle of sniper insecticide beside him, suggesting he injected the substance. His body has since been deposited at the public mortuary for autopsy. Emergency responders documented the scene, while police say investigations are ongoing to uncover the full circumstances of the incident. Mr. Kola, just a few weeks ago, I think you were on the show and we did talk about, the rise of this gender-based and domestic violence currently going on. Right now, today, we have, a domestic violence case and a suicide, sadly, a suicide case involved. What are your thoughts on this report?
It's just, it's becoming a reality for us in this country now. When we see things like this on the news, it's no longer surprising, as sad as it sounds, because most relationships end up this way. And then you wonder how and why it has to end this way. For two people to come together and decide to want to be together in a relationship or married, and all of a sudden hatred arises and they start beating up each other, in cases like this end up killing themselves. It's such a sad thing.
What sort of disagreements, comes to the point of acid being bought? Doesn't buying acid, keeping in your room, doesn't it sound rather premeditated to you?
Well, it does, but it does. This thing starts from somewhere. I don't think someone just wakes up overnight and decides to want to pour acid on a woman that he claims to like. It does start from somewhere. That's why I don't know. People, it's mixed. It's a topic for mixed reactions and mixed opinions. But most people in this country feel like when you're in a relationship, you have to make it work by force, by fire. You have to make it work, yes. Sometimes it's not as straightforward as it seems. There are lots of things that make marriages work, aside from love, money, temperaments, and if we can go around and pick with many other things. But I just try to convince people most times that if you try to make things work and it doesn't work, I feel it's okay to leave the situation. Because these things don't just spawn up in the heat of the moment. Even if someone gets angry at you today, you might not react just like that. Right? But if it's someone that is always getting angry at you and it now becomes a frequent thing, then all these thoughts begin to come up, where you must have gone to buy the acid from somewhere. Right. And that also brings up the whole question of regulating these things. Why can civilians just purchase acid without prior checks, if you get what I mean? Yeah,
as regards like a medical license of some sort.
Absolutely, and you say, I want to get acid. There are other means you could get, but legal means, of course, which I think is still an option when people want to involve themselves in these things. So we just need to ensure that it's not about the system. This is just one story. This is one story in a different light. In some cases, it's not acid. Some even literally beat their partners
to death. Now, I want you to hold on to that thought, because I was coming into regulations. Now, for over time, we've had lots of people, end it or commit suicide, as it is, through the use of this sniper. Through many people have committed suicide and unalived themselves through the use of sniper.
Yeah.
Right. Why is that particular? Why isn't it being regulated? Because now, when you were just talking about regulation of what's it called, acidic content, where someone can pick up something, know that it's acidic, and pour it on top of another person and get them all burnt up. If that aspect isn't being regulated, especially if you look at it from the fact that certain times you might even go to a pharmacy to get medication and they'll tell you, oh no, you must come with a prescription to get that. Why isn't that same approach being used for things like this acid content and equally being used for things like sniper itself, because it's become more deadly than it is become of any good use?
I missed a few parts, but I think I get the whole idea of the question. Let's talk about. I'm still going to come back to answering the question, I guess. But let's talk about maybe like when people say, let's make guns legal and whatnot. I'm heading somewhere. So
okay.
when you in countries, right, where guns are legal, people just go to places or they license themselves to have guns, and when they get guns, you see all manner of things that happen. People in relationships shoot themselves. Some shoot themselves over, oh, I packed here first, you didn't pack here first.
Right.
How am I saying this? Sometimes you just have to even put these things in place first. Just imagine there was no issue of licensing in the first place. It's already chaos, but imagine there was no issue. I'm just giving an example now. So when we come to this part of the world, and in as much as we expect that people are supposed to not abuse these things, when it's beginning to become a reality, like gender-based violence is becoming a thing.
All right.
I mean, when how did they say that saying? By the way, tough times are a bit tough. Basically, tough times you have to create tough measures and all of that.
Right.
So now things are happening like this. We can't just all say, hey, yeah, that's what they be, and we all sit back. Right? The government, our leaders are supposed to put things in place to make sure there is balance. Now, these things are happening. What they are supposed to do is say, okay, just like what you said, before you get some drugs in the pharmacy, you must have doctor's prescription. Right? So things like that can be put in place. Before you can get sniper, before you can get acid, you should be able to prove that, oh, maybe it's for research purposes, or maybe it's for farming purposes, or maybe it's for fumigation purposes. You should be licensed to prove and show that these things you are buying will be used for legal things, right?
Right.
I think that's something we can do rather than just letting it be. We are not doing that.
For sniper, you see the men. For sniper, you go into a supermarket and it's easily purchasable off the shelf. There are these other people that sell, insecticide and stuff of that magnitude, and they usually have it. Why is it so accessible? Why given that someone can buy sniper from someone that pushes a cart to say, okay, I sell insecticide products, I have this for killing of rats, I have this for killing of that, and they actually have this sniper in their collection. How do you think, what measures do you think this can be trafficked with? Do you think importation needs to be reduced and stopped? Do you think that it needs to be targeted in a way where it's sent to specific people that need it for genuine means can go and purchase it from?
Well, it's just like I said earlier. I mean, as simple as the word system sounds, and becoming a lot,
right,
a various number of things. But in this context, systems in Nigeria are not fully functional. In some cases, it's not even in place, and in most cases, when it's in place, it's not synchronized accordingly with all platforms. What am I saying? When we say people are licensed to have something, or people are licensed to operate as something, or in a capacity, maybe as a fumigation professional, maybe you need sniper or some chemicals to do stuff, or as a researcher, as a medical researcher, you can purchase acid and whatnot. When systems are put in place to ensure that when you are trying to get these things, you are not it's going to be like a way of life, basically. There is no need to second guess that, oh, or to prove that I am truly doing this or not. When you are licensed to operate in a capacity and you want to get this, I'm just picturing a situation where there is a licensing and checking of these things rather than just allowing people to just buy it off the shelf. I mean, people still use sniper to for their houses, to fumigate and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there are some that use it for bad means. But now that this is becoming a thing where people, I mean, the issue of snipers, it's not even the first time.
Right.
One of like the people that commit suicide, that's one of the things they use. Until now, it's not being regulated in any way. At least there should be some sort of regulation. You cannot just allow it to be because it's not. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, some people will say, oh, maybe the person was tired. Fine, but these things keep reading more.
All right. Right.
It keeps getting worse, basically.
Thank you so much for your insight on that report.